Alright, so last time we met Melina, we learned a little bit about the cycle of death and rebirth in the Lands Between, and we fought a Beastman. Next up, we're going to be doing a quest. We will come back for Bach, I promise. We will come back for that person. Today we're going to be doing a quest to try and restore the rightful ruler of Limgrave. But first, we have to fight this Nazgul-looking mofo. I'm not gonna try this many times, because I think he can one-shot me with my current health. Not quite, it turns out. And yeah, I can barely hurt him. Okay, so this should be, this is a bad idea. This isn't gonna work. But let's do it anyway. Let's give it one shot anyway. Now, first off, if I'm giving anyone motion sickness, I apologize. The horseback combat was an interesting idea, but it never really popped for me. Second, this dude in particular is one of the Knights Cavalry, who we're going to learn is a member of an elite fighting force led by Margit the Fell-Omen, who we will meet shortly. Shoot. Bach, I'll be back for you. I really will. Yeah, I hear you. Did not mean to jump off the horse. That is not ideal. Also, we're getting out of this guy's boss arena range. Shoot! Didn't have the right item equipped. Okay. Got him. So, there we go. Little warm-up fight, I suppose. Legitimately harder than anything else we're gonna fight this session. Not a good idea to fight these guys on horseback, actually, but they can very quickly de-horse you. Yeah, but it went okay. I just kind of thought if I killed them all that I would get another charge back, though I don't think we have very far to go before the Grace. Dude, did you not just see me kill the giant one on the... Okay. We have pants! It is pants time. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the Kite and Cell swords. These hulking, fearless mercenaries, said to hail from the mountaintops of the wintry north, are adept at fighting on horseback. Kaidan is the name of their home settlement. We don't get a lot more than that. That's about all we've learned about the mercenaries. But I would argue that they're down here looking for something. And we're going to talk about that a little more in, probably in the next few videos. I don't see it taking very long. But I think there's a open question that might be because these guys don't need an intricate backstory, but there's an open question about like what they're doing down here if they're from the north. There really isn't a lot of, oh, I could probably level up. Use the better sword. There's an open question about sort of what they're doing out here, what their purpose is.
Is anybody there? Someone who might be interested in rescuing the great Kenneth Haight, servant to the true order and celebrated repudiator of the false. Oh, Erdtree, grant me succor. Ah, you've come to lend me your aid, have you? Well, that's very kind, but, no. No, the help is very much appreciated, even from a tarnished. Despite appearances, nobility is no prerequisite to serving the true order. You might have heard of me, Kenneth Haight. Next in line is the rightful ruler of Limgrave, young Tarnished. I would have a boon of you. I want you to take back my fort. It lies to the south, beyond the Mistwood. A knight commander from Stormvale took it. A fool! And plumb mad to boot. Simply obsessed with blood. What are you waiting for? A kiss goodbye? My fort lies to the south, beyond the Mistwood. Take it back for me. Oh, I see. You wish to know the reward. Fret not. The great Kenneth Haight is known for his considerable largesse. The celebrations will be lavish indeed upon the dawn of my fort's retrieval. Yes. Now, allow me to furnish you with a little advice. I would take great care to avoid Godric's tarnished hunts were I in your shoes. That depraved lot are obsessed with sacrificing tarnished like you for the sake of grafting. Honestly, Godric's nothing more than a jumped-up country bumpkin. Lord? Oh, don't make me laugh. First, he hid himself amongst the womenfolk to flee the capital, then hid from Radahn in that castle. Then he insulted Melania, lost to her in battle, only to lick her boots rather than die like a man. Has he no shame, the big girl's blouse? And to think, He's the blood of Godfrey, last of the golden lineage, though you almost wouldn't know it to look at him. Yeah, I almost feel sorry for the chap the more I think of it. What are you waiting? My fort.
Okay, I think there was some reverb in that last one. It looked like the mic was somehow picking up my sound. Or so, if I just blew your eardrums out, I apologize. But yeah, so we got more on Godric being sort of a piece of crap. Which doesn't really come as a surprise. But also we got some mention of Godric's great grandfather type character. We don't actually know how the two are related, but their Godric is of the same blood as this heroic character Godfrey, who everyone thinks is just great. And a lot of the lore is going to involve that Godfrey character. So we'll talk about that in just a moment here. First, I want to look at some of these item descriptions. So we have our Flask of Wondrous Physic. A relic of the Physic Chemists, priests of the Erd Tree. Harnesses the power of crystal tears, which only form after the passage of many moons. Various special effects are bestowed on the drinker. Basins are placed at the feet of minor Erd trees throughout the lands between in order to collect their crystallized tears. And then we have a crimson crystal tear that says a crystal tear slowly formed over the ages where the Erd tree's bounty falls to the ground. Can be mixed in a flask of wondrous physic and restores HP. But the important bit is that these tears are collected in these basins like this. Again, this is a Tarnished Archaeologist reference. But those basins in the real world are used in a birthing ritual. Basically, the Christian Orthodox Church uses them for baptisms. And there's a reference to the tears forming over many moons, which have led some, including me, to speculate that maybe when these crystals form, that's how birth works in the lands between. Or it's some necessary part of births in the lands between. That's just a theory. It could be right or wrong, but it is a possibility. The other thing to note is that Kenneth Haight mentioned this idea of grafting. Grafting is something that you do with a plant. It's not something you do with a person. And basically the idea is to take the host, which might be unhealthy or weak in some way, and add what's called a scion, a cutting from a second healthy plant, and then the two can sort of merge together and form a healthy plant. And you can do this repeatedly. So again, this is one of those instances where the game world is kind of mixing up the distinction between plants and fungus and animals and minerals. And we're going to see that again and again, and as we get further in, we're going to see that this is all sort of a reference to alchemy, and this idea that there is a primal matter that everything is made of. And so you can find similarities between the animal, the mineral, and the plant. Or the vegetable, I guess. Anyway, let's talk to Melina again and learn a little bit more about Godfrey. Oh, wait, one more item description, sorry. Blessing of this is a sacred tier. It's going to increase the amount that our flasks heal. But it says blessing of the Erd Tree, worshipped in the churches of all lands. This is but a faint vestige. During the age of the Erd Tree, these tiers were used to spread the faith, for theirs was once a certain blessing. And we'll learn later, Melina would give these out herself, personally, to people who she wanted to bless. Or, I'm sorry, not Marika, the queen character, whose statue is over there, would give these out to people who she wanted to bless. And we'll always find these items in churches like this one. Anyway, let us increase the amount replenished, and then let's talk to Melina.
Spoken echoes linger here, words of Queen Marika, who vanished long ago. If you wish, I will share them with you. Very well. In Marika's own words, my lord, and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die. Well, perhaps that might serve you in lieu of a maiden's guidance.
Okay, so this mention of my lord and his warriors. The lord here is that Godfrey character that Kenneth Haight was referencing. We'll learn more about Godfrey as we go along, but basically Godfrey is this world's version of King Arthur. And like King Arthur, there's myths associated with him that come before and come after this new religion comes to the land. In the real world, that was Christianity. In this world, that would be this Erd Tree worship. And so we see sort of in the real world, when we talk about Arthur, we see this weird mixture of like pagan, of like a pagan character and a very Christianized, devout character. You know, he consorts with beings like Merlin and Morgana, but he also like abhors witches, and sometimes you know, characters are good guys or bad guys depending on when it was written. The whole thing comes across as a little confused and disjointed, and that's because the Arthurian legends have evolved over time. And one of the main theses of this game, I feel like, is like it's dealing with that question of who gets to write history, but instead of actually writing, of being like who gets to tell the story of what happened, it's more who gets to decide what the world is like. So in the real world, we would decide what the world is like by writing history in a certain way, or writing our myths in a certain way. In this world, when Marika took over, Godfrey, we're going to learn, literally changed into something else. So, this candelabra, it's sort of a spirit, it's sort of this ghostly spirit candelabra, is the sign of a character who is going to get increasingly important as this game goes on. Her name is Saint Trina. She's the goddess of sleep. And when you follow these candelabras, you get this spirit guy who will lead you to a secret. And they always lead you somewhere where there are signs of Saint Trina. And I assume that guy just came out of nowhere. Good lord. Also, I can equip that better sword. I don't want to lose the dude I was following, because that was what I was talking about. I had assumed, because St. Trina is so intricately involved with spirits and, you know, the sleeping world and the dead world and the spirit world, I had just assumed that we would be dealing with some sort of spirit world in this upcoming expansion. I'd assumed it so hard that I built my entire build around the idea that we were going to be dealing with some sort of spirit world. You know, everything was... all the parts of the build were things that involved death or spirits. The main weapon for the build was something called Helfen's Steeple, which was which was sort of a landmark that was supposed to guide spirits to their final resting place. That's how sure I was that that was what was going to happen. That's not what's happening. That's not what the expansion is about. Interviews with the dev team have made it extremely clear that we're going to be entering a physical world that actually exists, that it's not like a realm of the dead or a realm of dreams or something. I was way off. I'm betting I'm going to be way off again. So you can hear that howling maybe, and you can see that dude up on top of the ruin there. Here we have a giant bear who has been put to sleep, and I really bad don't want to pull this giant bear that's been put to sleep. Crap! Let's just, I'm sure it's fine. So, let me continue my discussion of all the stuff while that bear outside tries to murder me, but can't get to me, I hope. First off, we've picked up one of these, Trina's Lily. That's what the spirit led us to, is this area. And it, description says, a light purple water lily that is on the verge of wilting. Material used for crafting items, exceedingly rare to find, even though they're not, they're everywhere. A symbol of faith in St. Trina. Dulls the senses, preventing agitation. So St. Trina, as I mentioned, is a goddess of sleep, or a saint of sleep. You can see this bear has been put to sleep, or at least he was before I accidentally pulled him. And at one point, I might just murder him from inside here and not die horribly. It'd be really nice to be able to get out and do a crit right now, though. This is... Again, I'm not above being cheap as hell. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Though I probably shouldn't lure him over here because I don't want to... It would be very bad for this run if I accidentally made that character hostile. The other thing we picked up, and I'm going to actually use this talisman instead, is a talisman depicting an axe and a warrior. Enhances charge attacks. The lord who led the long march bore an axe, and his loyal warriors honored him by wielding axes of their own, making them very effective at dealing decisive blows. This axe that's showing is Lord Godfrey's axe. So, anyway, that was a detour I didn't mean to take. Let us move on. And let's remember that weird howling wolf man, because he's important. You know what? Instead of using Bloodhound's Fang like I planned, I may just use this and try to work towards a world in which I can enchant it in a way that's useful. Because I know how to use this weapon. It's not going to cost me a lot of time to use this. So these are demi-humans. We're going to meet a friendly demi-human. Well, we already technically met him, I suppose. But there's a friendly demi-human NPC. Oh, dang. Around here, who has been turned into a tree. Now, when you see the demi-humans and they're wild like that, it's very tempting to think that they're like, demi refers to like half man, half beast or something. We see more than one demi-human disguising themselves as a plant. So I'm wondering if they're actually sort of half man, half plant. That's way out there speculation, but that is one of the things that I wanted to mention. Okay, the demi-humans wax wroth, now their mother's been taken. Where are you, Lord Kenneth? The night, bedeviled by blood. Okay, so there's also a lot of references in the game to birth and motherhood, but only one type of being is ever explicitly referred to as being born of a mother, and that's these demi-humans. And their mothers get referenced constantly. And we're about to see one right now, well, I don't know, it depends how well this fight goes. But this is the fort that stuck up Kenneth Haight man wants us to retake. There's me getting shot. There's me getting a helmet if I want it. Again, the guard counter is just absolutely broken. Ow. In this part of the game, at least. Dude, I'm helping you break into the fort. Why are you fighting me? Okay, well that went actually much better than expected. Let's go on and check out the inside of the fort. And this is what I was talking about. You can see the demi-human mother with, at least one dead body near her. I thought I was going to get attacked by a rat. I was going to get attacked by a rat, I just somehow was in the other area. Okay. We have this blood rose we just got, and let's check out the description on that. It says, blood-slick roses that bloom in blood-soaked soil. Material used for... Oh, dear. Not ideal. Where were we? Material used for crafting items, particularly beloved by those who serve the Lord of Blood, glory to his inevitable reign. So I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure that's not of any concern whatsoever. And I'm trying to trigger those barrels to get exploded without killing me, but it's not going to happen. They will drop it at exactly the correct time to make me die. Oh cool, I got one of my my bits back. Okay, Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 6 teaches us how to make a bunch of blood items. Probably inspired by... Ooh, I did not put the tier actually in the physics, so it doesn't do anything. Bunch of blood items. Inspired probably by the Lord of Blood, glory to his inevitable reign. Now, fun fact about this run that we're doing right now is that the Lord of Blood is not in any way the final boss of the game. Notice all the, like, bloody attacks on this, this knight, where he can, like, coat his weapon in blood. Yep, there it goes. But because of the way that we're planning this run out, because basically we're playing up until the DLC entrance, the Lord of Blood is essentially the main boss of this run, this pre-DLC run. And I think, yeah, hey, there you are. And for some reason the game lets you smash these things, but as soon as you rest, they come back. So, like, there's no point in doing it. Anyway, let us... So you can see the map has filled out a little bit. This is one of my favorite little details of the game, is that the map actually expands to show you more and more of the world as you explore more and more. So, like, now we've got all of this area to explore, where before we just had this little bit. But anyway, the reason I was bringing the map up was to go back and tell Kenneth Haight that we have succeeded at taking his fort back.
I've been waiting for you with bated breath. Did you manage to recapture my fort? Oh, excellent news. Just wonderful. And the knight's dead to boot. Well done, my friend. Well done indeed. I knew I was right to trust you. Now, Here's your reward, as promised. Go ahead. It's all yours.
Thanks, Kenneth. This is useless to my build.
Right then. Time for me to head to the fort. I've much to do. First, I'll have to re-establish communication with the demi-humans. What's that look? You don't believe me? Well, under the Erd Tree, commingling with the demi-humans is made possible. Even the vulgar shall not be left behind, under the rule of true order. Which is why I, Kenneth Haight, next in line as the rightful ruler of Limgrave, have sworn to uphold it. Just you watch, my friend. Just you watch. Ah, yes. I've been meaning to ask. Would you like to enter my service? I see bright things in your future, stout warrior. Enter into my service and learn the workings of the Erd Tree's true order. And who knows? Perhaps sometime down the line, the grace of gold will return to those tarnished eyes of yours. What say you? A fine accord, is it not? Very well indeed. I knew I saw something in you. I shall await you at my fort. We shall hold a ceremony for your knighting there, I think. I see great things ahead of us. We are truly by the Erd Tree blessed.
Alright, let's go. Let's go get knighted. Note that all the enemies usually respawn, but here they're gone. I did pick up that seed, right? Yeah, I did. Fun fact, I just forgot to do this, but if you come back before Kenneth gets back, these guys aren't hostile. They'll just sit there. Apparently, Kenneth upsets them in some way. Which sounds just about right, because he upsets me in some way too.
You, is it? I suppose you must have seen it by now, yes. The sorry state of my fort? Oh, indeed, it is a foul fate for a land to be without a ruler. One must be found, with haste, and not that awful Godric, but a true and stalwart lord of the proper lineage to take the reins of Limgrave. I'm sorry to have lifted your hopes, but I haven't the authority to raise you to knighthood as things stand. The great Kenneth Haight issues his sincerest apology. But now, I must begin my search post-haste for a true and stalwart lord of the proper lineage to take the reins of Limgrave.
Alright. So that finishes up this part of this quest. Dude is not next in line for the throne of Limgrave. He was either confused or lying or mistaken. One thing that I really like about the Souls games generally is that they have a lot of layers to them. In that right now this seems like a pretty typical fantasy story. And it will remain sort of a pretty typical fantasy story for a while here. Where, you know, evil weak ruler basically ruins the land around him by being evil and weak. And then as it goes on, you learn more and more. I was trying to keep these episodes at about an hour. We're at 40 minutes now. So that was the full quest. But it might be a good opportunity to do just a side dungeon that doesn't really fit anywhere else. So like I said, the side dungeons, generally they try to give it a little bit of a story, even if the story isn't, like, knockout interesting. Here, it's going to be pretty straightforward. I mean, this is a mine. There's stuff here we need. These rocks are excellent. Are upgrade materials that we're going to need for upgrading our weapons at some point. These dudes are just miners who are just working here. So, you know, not like a super interesting story, but there is something going on here. It makes sense that all the assets that are here would be here. And we'll see later on, there is some care put into where assets go. They aren't usually just strewn around randomly. And that's why, even though this world in a lot of ways feels more gamey than other open worlds, in some ways it feels more realistic to me. Just because some thought has been put into... It's not like we're gonna see this level layout a lot, but we're never gonna see this exact location that's just sort of a typical mine again. We're gonna see sort of variations on it as we go through. Again, not... You know, there's been complaints that a lot of these dungeons feel samey, and I can't really argue. They do in a lot of ways. But I just like that. And all open worlds kind of have that problem. But I do think that there is a little bit of effort put in to make every individual dungeon, even if it does feel a little samey and even if it is repeating some stuff, to make it feel like it has a specific lore purpose. Even if that purpose is like here, it's literally just this is a mine. People are mining here. Also, a little bit of a question of ethics. Like, what did these dudes ever do to us? And yes, they do attack on sight, but, like, why did we come in here if not to, like, take their stuff? Which, of course, isn't a big enough concern to make me stop taking their stuff. Someone has released my child into the world. Like my real life child. I can hear her thumping around. I expect there will be a knock on the door momentarily. Oh, I missed wherever I was supposed to get off there. Up there it is. I still haven't put the stupid thing in the stupid tier in the physics flask. Shoot. There's no reason I should be using a shield right now. Like, what is the shield gonna do for me? Alright, this troll is sort of a straightforward fight, but I want you to look into his belly here. Where he's had his guts sort of ripped out, and in their place we've got a tablet of some sort. And again, like I said, I feel like that there is some significance to the fact, to the written word in this game, where it has the ability to shape reality. What we're collecting in order to become more powerful are literally called runes, and the things that we're ultimately trying to get, the item we're trying to get from Godric is a great rune. The idea of words and letters as being super powerful is a big thing in this game. The other thing to note is that we're standing on a meteor. Again, this is an asset that's used over and over and over again, but it's interesting that these meteors always show up in mines and caves where we're able to get useful items. And finally, we have the weapon that we got off the troll. I'm sorry, the talisman that we got off the troll. The Roar Medallion. A bronze medallion depicting a roaring giant. In ancient times, the giants were mortal enemies of the Erd Tree. Their bellowing roars desolated nature, triggered avalanches, and whipped up storms of flame. Yeah. So what we're going to learn as the game goes on is that the trolls are traitors, that initially the trolls were giants, or at least were on the same side as the giants, and that they betrayed the giants and joined the side of America and the Erd Tree. And now, as you saw, they have this hole cut in their bellies, and in place of where their guts or whatever was there before was. They have a tablet with ostensibly words or runes written on it. So anyway, let's do one final encounter, and then we will call this episode.
This way, Tarnished. May I have a word?
All right. And here you can see this sort of purple mist. We're going to learn it's called dream mist. And Kale is out. He's just dead asleep.
A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk, I surmise, is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
It can be sort of difficult to see, but note that she's got a spirit head sort of twinned onto her actual head. Also, if you say no here, she just yells at you and then asks again. We're going to skip that.
As I had hoped, I was entrusted this for thee, by Torrent's former master. 'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly, as they recall battles past. Now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest. Forgive mine intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the two fingers?
And then the mist dissipates, and Kale wakes up.
Wait, well, you're back. The howl of a wolf. In the mistwood. I suppose he must still be skulking about. I know. Why not meet him for yourself? Next time you hear the wolf's howl, make this signal right under the source. Don't fret. There is nothing to fear. I just have an inkling the two of you might hit it off. Goodbye.
And we will go try out the finger snap next session. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.